welcome to the CFL Fans in the USA Football Podcast. Rick Crabb here once again, and of course, once again joining me is the moderator of the CFL Fans in the USA Facebook group, Mr. Phil Haw. Phil?
Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Alright, doing well as always. Phil, we had a lot of things to celebrate in the US and in Canada this past weekend. You were telling me off of the air you went to some Juneteenth celebrations in the Pittsburgh area. Great holiday and great moment in U.S. history. If you're not familiar with it, Google's your friend. Look it up. But yeah, it's a very important day. In the U.S., we also celebrated Father's Day. We had, you had told me off the air. Why don't you tell us on the air? I think you did mention it on the show, though. You had some memories with your father about the CFL, in fact.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And first of all, happy Juneteenth to everyone, and happy National Indigenous Day up in Canada. Matter of fact, actually everywhere, because I'm part Native American, so happy to that, and happy Father's Day, past, living, and even fur fathers too. So how I remember I reflected time Father's Day, and then I shout that out on the Facebook thing, and about how my dad, it was during hard times of us, or I just lost my sister, and then I just lost my mother and stuff like that. So what it is, it was pretty much down and out. I did like a trip to Canada. We just hang out there, and we went to Niagara Falls. And, I'm just going emotion, I'm still like, I'm sad and all that good stuff. But suddenly my dad say, hey, would you like to go to a football game? And I was like, whatever. So what do you mean whatever? You watch CFL football all the time. And he's like, I know you watch it. I was like, really? I was like, you got tickets? She's like, I got front row tickets. I'm like, what? So, I'm still a little down, I'm grieving and all that good stuff, and the whole atmosphere of the, CFL football, going into the Rogers Center, a.k.a. the Sky Dome at the time, we went to Planet Hollywood and got myself I don't know, this burger was out of this world. I don't know if that's still there or not. And we went there. The atmosphere was so amazing. They had the open roof of Sky Dome. You see the CN Tower. It was everything. Then you got the players. Watch the players practice right before the pregame and stretching. Saw Doug Flutie. Saw Pinball Clemens. Pretty much, and it sucks I lost this paper. I had an autographed Pinball Clemens program with his name, and he was just so gracious and everything like that. And I'm just I felt like I was 16 years old, but I felt like a 4-year-old jumping up and down, all happiness and stuff. And it was an amazing moment, and it was and then suddenly the game was going back and forth with Calgary Stampede. They was really good at that time. Toronto was good with it. I also met Mike O'Shea, and the coach of Winnipeg. He was the linebacker, and it was just and then suddenly I did the Canadian national anthem, and I saw this big face on the big screen, grinning teeth to teeth, and then suddenly my dad, he went out of the way, and let me tell you something, back then, those tickets wasn't cheap, front row, and I was so in love with the whole situation. I loved the whole CFL experience, the whole family, the community, and all that stuff. And Toronto did everything great in that. And I was like, Dad, Hamilton is on the way home. Can we go to the Hamilton game? And I was like, My dad's like, all right, let's go.
Nice.
And Hamilton, we went to the Hamilton game next day. They played against who did they play at that time? They played the Montreal West at the time. And I saw like Danny McManus first in
Mike Pringle.
And And Danny McManus, we did the whole thing. We went to pregame, stuff like that, and then suddenly, like, I walked down there, and Danny McManus is like, hey. He's like, and I wore a Steeler jersey. He's like, oh, this, you're wearing a Steeler jersey. I'm like, yeah. He's like, how you like this? How you like Hampton? That's like our brother's city. I'm like, oh, I love it, you know. And it's crazy. These players are talking to fans before the game, and he's like, hey, we Hamilton, we love it. It's a still town just like us. I was like, yeah, and it's like, so he gave me this autograph. Wish I have it in my storage. I wish. I need to go deep and get that. He gave me an autographed football.
Oh, nice.
And my dad, I remember because it was like 4th of July weekend. We went home, and then I was like, Dad, I want this jersey. I don't know. I had this Toronto Argonauts jersey with I talk about the one with the logos on the shoulders.
Right.
Yeah. It was the pinball Clemens.
Mm-hmm.
My dad thought that was commit. I was like, it's not commit, it's Clemens. Like, because he's talking about so you remember that? I'm trying to think. The old school player back in CFL. It was he's from Pittsburgh. He went to Notre Dame, but he was a big time quarterback. From I think it was Ottawa Rough Riders. So it was Clement.
Okay.
Yeah, it was right after Russ Jackson. But anyway, it was. I just remember Hamilton was just like treating us extra nicely. I just remember, like, we didn't talk about our sadness and stuff like that. Every day they knew that we a fan of football. We were a fan of it. Like, they comp everything. They comp the food. They comp us. They made us go on the field. Like,
my gosh.
Even like, yeah, like that's how cool that was. And, like, my dad's like, they went above and beyond to say, hey, all right, this is we didn't say it was our first experience against it was last night in Toronto, but it was our first experience in Hamilton and the first experience with a football game. And I told my dad this, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know I will ever see another game against this team. But the way they treat us, no matter what it is, they're up there with the Kentucky Wildcats and the Pittsburgh Steelers and New York Knicks. Like, this is my favorite team.
Nice.
I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but this is my favorite team. And I look on the internet every time. I used to listen to Tiger Cat Radio, but obviously you can't get TSN.
Right.
And ESPN2 was, they here and there watching.
Yeah, they were kind of sporadic, yeah.
Yeah, very sporadic. And even though when they show a lot of games when it was on the NFL Network and ESPN during like the 2010s, you rarely see the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Right.
And so I listened to the radio station, and it's all started with my dad. So happy Father's Day to my father. I know he's at home contemplating mowing the grass, which I already did. So he's 76, going on 77 strong soon. So happy Father's Day, Dad, and then that would be it. And Brandy's dad, even though he never watched any CFL, but he would appreciate the game of CFL. But he's all about tough football, but and a lot of respect amongst each other. So,
okay.
Yeah, that was good. And happy Father's Day to your father too. And I know your situation is, and
Yeah.
I say,
I appreciate that. And sorry to hear about your sister and all too, but
yeah. And another thing about the my mom and my sister thing, I wrote a letter, and this is say what you want, say people want about CFL, and one day I will read this letter to the people here, but I did try to do I send letters almost every before season and to every team, and usually obviously I get the cold shoulder, obviously, and they probably get thousands, millions of letters. CFL, the organization, and also Calgary, shout out to them. That's only two people respond back. And it's like the CFL organization, or the front office say, hey, that's a beautiful story you told me, and we're touched by that. And we just thank you for what you are, what you do, and keep doing what you're doing, and trust me, we appreciate it. And that's why I'm paraphrasing it and stuff like that, but and Calgary Stampede went above and beyond. They called me because I told my story about it. I was like, this is my first game against Toronto, blah, 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 blah. And then it was like, hey, how you feel going to, I was like, how you feel about going to a Calgary game? I was like, I was like, you caught me on a rock and a hard place. I got no money that much to get there. And he's like, and it's like, hey, how about this? Whenever you and Brady have the solid money on the season, off the season, come on up to Calgary whenever you have the chance to, and you'll get the full access of the stadium, you get full access of the field, and you also got the full access of meeting the players and stuff like that. Not like in the locker room, but full access to everything. So I'm like hell yeah, I'm begging Randy to do this trip soon.
Right.
So it's gonna be. So shout out to that. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's great, and it seems like a lot of people complain in our group and other groups about how the CFL doesn't market to fans, but that's going above and beyond. Good for them.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I understand the people is. I see people in the group, I see people in other groups talk about, oh, we ain't going to watch this because it changes and stuff like that. And I get your anger, I really do. And I'm not trying to size up or trying to be Team CFL. I get your anger, but I work at a job that there's changes every day, and it sucks. But guess what? I appreciate my job for what I do, and I feel like you're a big sports fan. You know how people is during the off season or before it happened. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm never gonna watch this team. Oh, this team stinks." And then whenever 2027 week 1, people say it stinks, they're gonna watch the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, fair weather fans. I get it.
Yeah, and I get the whole changes, but I'm still gonna watch because these guys bust their ass every day, every week, every day, and guess what? They have time for the people in the community. They have time for everything else, and guess what? They're real people and they're good people, and I will support this league till I can't support it no more not because of rules and stuff, because great people in the CFL players is making a difference every day, and I acknowledge that.
Yeah, Good that you did that. I'll mention real quick about one experience with my dad. They weren't nearly as good as yours, but I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad experience at all, but one thing about it was like my father got me into sports in general, and when the Colts left, for the most part, we were without football. We had the original USFL, pretend to be a Baltimore team, but they really played in the DC suburbs. Um, Memorial Stadium, when the Colts left, they would have like one big college game with either University of Maryland or the Naval Academy. But and they even had this preseason game with the Saints and the Dolphins to try to apply for expansion, and then that fell through. Then when we got the Stallions, then trying to call themselves the CFL Colts, what I liked about it was their season started seemed like they started a lot later, Phil, but maybe a month preseason was like a month before like the NFL preseason. And what I liked about it, the CFL sold their tickets earlier. And what was nice, even though we went months later, I was able to buy for my father tickets to the very first ever organized CFL game as a preseason game against Winnipeg. And I really enjoyed that. Got us 55-yard seats, and he even said, he felt bad that, he couldn't. He took me to like one Colts game when I was a kid, but he said he couldn't take me anymore, obviously, because, we didn't have a team for him to take me to. And I felt good being able to do that. And it's like he pretty much, he pretty much like followed the Orioles and whatever NFL team. He didn't follow like other sports. Usually my uncles and my grandfather, I would go to minor league hockey or Maryland basketball or stuff like that. But that was interesting. Now, Phil, you mentioned about Indigenous Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, and again, salute to everyone who does celebrate. I think I have some lineage to Cherokee tribe myself. There was a story that kind of tied to that. You were saying before about people not coming because of rules or team names and stuff like that. I have an article right here I want to discuss with you. It says that the Elks president says the CFL club still recovering from disaster of the name change. Let me click that on real quick. Now, read that. Let me get this. Okay. It came from John Korovanek from the Canadian Press. That as the Edmonton Elks prepare for their home opener Saturday, team president Chris Moore says the fallout from the club's 2021 name change remains one of the biggest obstacles in rebuilding support among fans. Morris, who spent 14 years on Edmonton's offensive line and won 3 Grey Cups with the club, said the franchise continues to deal with fallout from its 2021 name change. Quote, "It was a disaster in so many ways," Morris said of the transition from the Eskimos to the Elks. The club changed its name after years of criticism from Inuit leaders and organizations who said the former name was offensive and outdated. The move came amid broader pressure on sports teams to abandon names viewed as racist or stereotypical. Morris said the decision alienated some longtime supporters of one of the CFL's most storied franchises. Quote, "The people who had been local fans and the people who had grown to care and love have a lot of respect for that tradition were obviously very offended," he said. Morris said the name change, along with the COVID-19 pandemic and the team's struggles on the field, contributed to season ticket sales falling from more than 20,000 to about 7,000. Yikes. Quote, "For some, there's no way we can repair it except if we were to change our name back, and that's not viable," he said. The comments come as the Elks continue rebuilding under owner Deb Thompson, who took control of the franchise with her late husband Larry in 2024 when the club was facing significant financial challenges. Morris said the organization had stabilized financially and is working to rebuild ties with fans and the broader community. The Elks have taken steps to reconnect with their past. The club is often referred to as the Green and Gold or the Double E, and the once an Eskimo, always an Eskimo sign has returned to the dressing room. Edmonton opened the season with a 29-20 victory over Ottawa before a bye week and will host the Montreal Alouettes on Saturday, and we will definitely talk about that game. Good Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Quote, "We've got a lot of work to do still to rebuild that partnership, that community feeling, Morris said, but I think we're moving in the right direction. And that was, like I said, Canadian Press from June 19th. All right, Phil. A lot to tackle on that one, man.
Big time, man.
Yeah. I'll get your, I want to hear your thoughts first, and, I'll share some stuff, too, when.
That is one of the 2 days there's a lot of division to the CFL world, and Edmonton Elks and the Edmonton old names, a lot of people want the old name back.
Right.
And I'm trying to look into it, and is it one man is offended to it, or is the whole community is offended with the name? That's my question on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I don't know what the backstory to that. I need to look into that. I don't know what the backstory with the hatred on the Eskimos name, but I knew a lot of people, and I know a lot of Edmonton fans on the page want the name back. And my theory on that is you can't bring the name back, even though what it is, but they need to have another name that make it satisfied for both ends. Make it honor Inuits or something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's the problem is they should have had the Inuit people, like the Inuit, the spokesperson, and have the Elks president. They should have had a room at this time. Say, okay, this is an offensive word. Let's find a way to have a new name, but let's put honor to your people and honor the people of Edmonton. I feel like Elks is a very generic name.
Mm-hmm. But at least has the alliteration, and they can have that old double E logo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think they're trying to have. I think they're trying to have their KE too, because it's all about the logo.
Mm-hmm.
My question is that is it the reason why no one going to the games because of that, or is the lack of competition, or people really angry about this name change? And I think, honestly, I think it's kind of petty for the people in Edmonton to not go to the game because of name change, and because the team is actually, even the last couple of years, very entertaining to watch. So.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
I think it's a combination of things, and it reminds me very much of, I have friends who I live an hour away from Washington D.C., and I have friends who want the team to go back to being called the Redskins, and it's I went to a party around Christmas time. They even said, they were talking about current merchandise for the team. They're saying, and nobody buys Commanders or Washington football team. We want the Redskins back. They would say that. And I think with that team, there were a lot of local politicians that for years wanted them to stop calling themselves that. Within D.C. and the county in Maryland where they played Prince George's County, they were complaining about that. And the main reason they did that was because FedEx, which was sponsoring their stadium at the time, and Nike both said, look, if you don't stop calling them the Redskins, we are going to stop paying you sponsorship. We are not going to we're not going to pay for the stadium rights. And Nike flat out said, we're not going to sell any of your merch. We're not going to sell any of your jerseys, any of your sideline caps, nothing. So that's why they did that. And I think with DC, and I think this is what I think is going on with Edmonton, it's a combination. It's like a lot of the old heads want the name back. But a lot of it also is because with Dan Snyder, he said, okay, this is just yet another bungle by Dan Snyder. Just a lot of mismanaging, and then the team was starting to, have some bad years too, and then they had the scandals with the cheerleaders. I actually know one girl who cheered for Washington and then came up to cheer for Baltimore. She told me some stuff. It was just a combination of things. It was just one more thing. It's like they were mad at the owner. And I'm getting the feeling that with Edmonton, you have the old heads that want the names back, but a lot of it, I think, is just because of poor performance on the field and the ownership. They're kind of like, they probably feel like I guess they might be mad at this woman who owns the team now and probably feel like she can't, get out of her own way, and it's just a lot of bad blood and all. It's just, I don't know. That's the take I get. And I've read other comments where some people thought it was like a sponsorship thing too, but I think it's more just the name and yeah.
Now, I gotta ask you a question on that. Like, and no offense to people who have Inuit blood and stuff. I'm saying,
right?
Is Eskimos get like is that like a derogatory word to the Inuit people, or just
I believe it is. I think that's why they did it. It's like a slur, just like Redskins. Now, I like your idea of consulting the Inuit community because for years, we've had that controversy in this country with a lot of pro and college team names. But some teams like the Redskins and the Cleveland Indians, they kiboshed that. But then they tried to do it with some college teams. Syracuse eventually changed from the Orange Men to the Orange. They were talking about doing that with Florida State, but the Seminole tribe is near the Florida State campus, and they rejected it. They were like, no, that's our team. They represent us. That's like our own team. Don't change that name. So I think and then over time, you saw some teams like them, the Chicago Blackhawks, any team that had like a tribal, name of an official tribe, they kept. But then you had, like I said, with the Redskins and the Indians, which kind of surprised me about the Atlanta Braves. But I read somewhere too that, I don't know, that was kind of considered like almost like a tribal name. But
they did that for the Guardians too, and then they changed their name to that. I always ask the question to people is like, y'all quick to change that name, but how come no one quick to change the name to the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys?
Right.
And I was like, the Cowboys did a lot more bad stuff than Native American people.
Right.
Yeah. And it was just like, my thing is basically, it's a hard thing to say about because I can understand from both sides,
right.
But you have to. That's a problem. These sports people have to talk to the people like the Native American, indigenous people about this. Like, hey, do you want this name? If you don't mind, can we have this name? Can you support this name? If you don't like the supporters, let's come to a compromise of a new name. You know what I mean? Or stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of ownership want to, like, their ego and their pride, they don't want to back down to anyone. But
I think it's a few things too. You have like a bunch of different camps. There's a political divide with that, and sometimes you want a team to make you sound tough. You have Raiders, you have Pirates, you have Buccaneers. God knows what they did back in the day to people, but you know what? It kind of like gives them, they want an edgy name. I was watching a commercial. No, I was listening to the radio with my girl the other day. They were advertising about the TBT, the 3-on-3 basketball league, and they listed like, and for a while they just had like team names without the cities. Well, they had one team called the LA Riot.
I remember, I see that. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's.
I'm like, that's worse than, those things is worse than, like, people died.
Yeah, exactly.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's.
I mean,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like calling a team in Boston the Boston Massacre or Oklahoma City the Oklahoma City Bombers or something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, and it's like that's the worst thing, and I feel like, and it's so hard to think of. It's hard to say anything like that. It's like
yeah.
I feel like you just need to talk to the people about this. You need to talk to the Inuit people. You need to talk to the people of Edmonton about it, because I think this is a good team, man. And it's a shame that people are not going to games. And like we will talk about the Montreal Edmonton game, and I understand it was raining, but it felt, you watched the game, it felt like it was 100 people at that game.
Right.
You know, I don't know if they was all under the what I call so they don't want to get soaked and rain, but it was like,
it's probably a lot of it. It's probably a lot of people in like the, I don't know, like the aisles, like watching, like from, near the concession stands and stuff like that. The rain games are probably misleading with the crowds and all. One thing I noticed, I don't know if it's kind of a coincidence, but this game was at Edmonton, it rained. The previous game was at Ottawa and it rained. I'm thinking, man, if your team's playing Edmonton, look at the weather forecast. It's like, they're bringing rain with them or what?
Well, hey, Winnipeg did rain. Everyone wanted to rain, so who knows,
Right, exactly.
I gotta check the weather of that. but yeah, so it's a very touchy situation up in Edmonton, and a very touchy situation about Indigenous people. Like, I don't know what's a word that you can honor. You may have to have a word that honor them instead of like, okay, we're gonna call ourselves an Elks, because that seems like it's a cop out.
Right. But I mean, yeah. But again, it's the alliteration with a name, and animals are probably the easiest thing to generate logos from merch and stuff like that. So I get that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they could have came up with, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if they got like a tribe that's prevalent throughout that part of Alberta or something. They could have gone with something like that, but I don't know.
Like, I talked to a couple Ottawa fans. They want the Rough Riders name. They still want the Rough Riders name back. And this is back then when they we came back as the Renegades, and they disappeared. They came back as the Red Black. They thought they're gonna be they thought they're gonna be the Rough Riders. I'm like, it's kind of confused. That was one thing I was very confused at that time. Like, there was two Rough Riders
and they had them separated. It's like, I think Saskatchewan had it all as one word, and Ottawa had it as two words, Rough and then Riders. There was even a joke with the Baltimore team, when we couldn't call ourselves the Colts, somebody suggested calling themselves Rough Riders. So why not? You got two teams in the league called that. Call them, you guys that too. Except they already had the horse logo and would have looked and sounded stupid anyway. But yeah, it was.
And I remember. And here's the thing. I remember the Baltimore Stallions, and I had a pennant at that, and it was the Baltimore CFLers.
Right.
At the first year, I was like, what? Because I guess NFL did not want them to use the Colts or something like that. And I'm like,
but there was still some merch out there, Phil, because they had a rally after the first Grey Cup at Memorial Stadium, and they had a vendor selling pennants that said CFL Colts on it. That was at the end of the season. Yeah, I don't think he was. He was kind of like I guess it's like maybe he bought like a bunch of them a while back or something. I don't know, but it was. I still have a jacket that says that, and I think I got a few other things too. But yeah, that was.
Yeah. And here's a little fun fact, because I was looking for the notes for our next week's show. I think we having two shows next week. One for CFL America, right? Or something like that.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, Phil, because that brings us to our ad. Let's roll the footage for that now. Okay. Expansion in the United States, that leads to another story that I have here. Okay, according to, let me click it on right here. Yeah. Okay, we have a headline says, Bibby proposes CFL return to American expansion. This is done by Dan Ralph of the Canadian Press. Okay, so here we go. Let's scroll down here. All right. Quebec City is very much on the CFL's expansion radar, but Dr. Reginald Bibby feels the league should again incorporate American-based franchises. Last month, veteran journalist Sylvain Bouchard divulged talks have been ongoing for more than a year between the CFL and business leaders regarding an expansion franchise, a new stadium in Quebec City. A suitable venue has been the biggest obstacle to a 10th team being based in Halifax. However, the Quebec City talks reportedly involve a proposed $350 million, 25,000 seat facility. Bibby, a retired University of Lethbridge sociology professor and author, acknowledges the importance of a 10th Canadian franchise. But in the appendix of his book, The Canadian Transformation, 1975 to 2025, a compilation of Bibby's national surveys on trends in Canada that's available on Amazon, Bibby states CFL expansion into 4 American states that border existing Canadian franchises would increase the league's U.S. television revenue and boost interest in both countries. Quote, Quebec City, I think that's where it's going to start, and it would be an obvious plus in Canada, Bibby said in a telephone interview. Quote, but it will do little to excite Americans. The reality is success in the North American sports marketplace requires getting in on the vast U.S. media resources, and that requires having American cities involved. Otherwise, U.S. interest will be minimal. We're trying to do something about that ourselves, so. That's, okay, quote, that's the major reason the CFL has been unable to land a financial, meaningful contract with any American network or streaming service despite being a valuable property. Bibby's plan would see the CFL keeping its current East-West format and the American clubs being in their own division. Those franchises could have a fixed number of players from the home state or adjacent areas on their roster to stimulate regional interest. Quote, the point is this would be expansion to proximate regions with well-established ties to Canada, Bibby said. American cities Bibby suggests are Spokane or Seattle suburb, Milwaukee or St. Paul, Minnesota, Detroit or a suburb, and Syracuse or a suburb. Quote, the biggest issue in Canada has always been a stadium, but the nice thing about this is the stadiums in the U.S. markets are already there, he said. The big thing is investment, so if they have a team of investors along with the CFL that like the regional concept and think it could work, I don't think you'd want to take too long to get it in place. If you could put 2 teams in 1 year and within a year or 2 put the other 2 in, but have the public aware you've got this plan, I think it would spark a lot of interest in Canada and what's going on with the CFL. I think it could happen very quickly. CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnson said that the league's priority remains the Canadian market. Quote, the CFL is on a growth trajectory, he said in a statement. With regards to expansion, we are squarely focused on Canada. We're encouraged by the interest from prospective ownership groups in various Canadian markets. Until there's more to report, the league remains focused on its 9 current teams in the 2026 season. Bibby appreciates regional proximity. He received a PhD from Washington State University before embarking on a 5-decade tenure at Lethbridge. In 2006, Bibby was appointed an officer of the Order of Canada. In 1997, Bibby presented his survey findings to CFL officials at a 2-day gathering in Edmonton. On the opening evening, he proposed a TSN official the broadcaster should consider branding its Friday broadcasts. Quote, I suggested the network should give a night name to its games, Bibby said. When he, TSN representative, said with irritation, we already have games every Friday night. I said, so why not call it Friday Night Football? That fall, TSN launched the program. I had too many ideas then and still have too many now. The CFL had American franchises from 1993 to 95, based in Sacramento, Las Vegas, San Antonio, Shreveport, Birmingham, Memphis, and Baltimore. It returned to its all-Canadian format in 1996. But the expansion fees generated reportedly were between 15 and 18 million US dollars, were critical for the cash-strapped league in 1996. The CFL didn't have enough money to pay Edmonton and Toronto players in the Grey Cup, but fortunately, Tim Hortons provided much-needed funds that ensured the players' checks would clear. Bibby feels his plan would help net the CFL a more lucrative American TV deal. Its current broadcast contract with CBS Sports Network, which reportedly pays $1 million annually, expires at season's end. Bibby said CFL adding 4 American territories would not threaten the NFL because those markets would never be considered for NFL expansion squads. Alright, Phil. Again, another big article with a lot to tackle. Alright, your thoughts, brother.
My thoughts on that, and Soccer Baby, shout out to him, but I feel like right now is a pipe dream right now, and the reason why I say that, there's a pros and cons to it. And I hope Baby look what happened in the past, the reason why CFL in America did not work. And CFL did the right thing. They tackled the cities that did not have an NFL team. But they did it blindly. They just say, oh, they didn't have an NFL team. Let's just put the CFL in there and hope for the best. And unfortunately, it was the only 2 cities that actually had fans to show up was Baltimore and San Antonio, because Texas love football and Baltimore love football.
Right.
You agree on that, right?
Definitely.
Now, the pros of that, and I'm bringing it out, the pros of that, you can do CFL in America. But like I say, the right thing I'm saying, you got to have it right near on the border of Canada. And he say Syracuse, I was thinking more like Rochester. Rochester, I've been saying this for years, Rochester is a great place to have a CFL team. Because Rochester is a hard-working city. Rochester, they support their teams. Do you look it up? The USL soccer team, the indoor lacrosse teams, they sell out all the time.
Right.
And stuff like that. What else do you say? Detroit area?
Detroit area or suburb. Seattle or Spokane. Let's see. So, Syracuse or a suburb, and then there was another. Let's see. Let me scroll back
St. Paul and Milwaukee. Five areas. So I want to shoot down Detroit, but if you want to do a Detroit team, I would have a Detroit/Windsor. Have a team called Detroit/Windsor, but have the stadium in Windsor, but have Detroit people back in that stadium.
Right.
I would still have it in Windsor, but have the name Detroit Windsor team.
Well, I'm thinking Detroit might work only for this reason.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the fans of the UFL were upset that the Michigan Panthers left, but the structure of that league, Mike Rapoli wants the teams to play in soccer-sized stadiums for the most part.
Yeah.
And Detroit area did not have a stadium ready, but they're in the process of, I think, building a soccer stadium there. So I'm thinking for the spring, they might be able to do it. Maybe even call themselves the Michigan Panthers again. I don't know. But then again, I don't know. They might have to fight with the UFL with that. Yeah. Milwaukee, I can't see because of the Packers. They're just way too big. There's no way. And the Vikings probably the same way with Minneapolis, St. Paul. Rochester, I'm not familiar with their stadium interest. I would think Syracuse might be because they already have, I forget what they call it now. It was the Carrier Dome. But, I mean, it's a stadium big enough for football. That would probably work for that.
Yeah.
But
And then Rochester is pretty much next to Syracuse, so
yeah.
Well, 90 miles away, but I feel like if they can build a stadium in Rochester, and I'm not even talking about like a 30,000 seat stadium, maybe like a 20,000 seat stadium, that'll be ideal. And Spokane, my dad, he's been to Spokane, there's really nothing much in Spokane, but nothing but the Gonzaga basketball team, and Spokane is nowhere near Seattle, but guess what? That's Seattle, that's Seahawk country up there, and no matter what it is, Seahawks took over not only the Washington area, the Portland area, and also, I hate to say it, Vancouver area.
Yeah, and Alaska too. Because I know the Seattle Kraken have a big presence there also.
Yeah. Now here's my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that the fact they're gonna make money. They're gonna make money the first 2 years, obviously, because it's something new. What do you think the situation is going to be 5 or 10 years if they still have a team in America? You think the people are going to be like, we don't care much about it, or you still think it'll be thriving in those cities?
I think, like you said, it'll be kind of a pipe dream. The interview that I did with Ron Snyder, he went into detail why a lot of the other U.S. cities during that time period failed. He said a lot of it is just because they didn't do enough market research. He said because of weather, and it's like they tried to like get local names that were big for, like, I don't know, like for Birmingham they tried to get like Alabama people, and Memphis they tried to get a university. They thought of like college football, and then they tried to like hire like college football and teams, but the players and coaches that really weren't familiar with Canadian football. And Baltimore, you had a few things. You had we had us getting rejected for the expansion. You had the baseball strike. So the only other thing we had were the Orioles, and they were on strike. And when they went out and put their team together, they went out and got Don Matthews, who won Grey Cups. They got Tracy Ham, who had been successful in the league. They got like a few other players, and then they had the advantage of not having to have a ratio of Canadian players, so they can scoop up all like the SEC and other American football hotbeds that they wanted, and it benefited them. So, but
and then also, and I think CFL didn't do this, and when the first time a year in America, they did not. They didn't do their research before they got to these cities. Like, I feel like if you want to really seriously put a team in America, you have to go there before everything, before a deal and stuff. Go talk to the people of these cities and say, hey, do you watch the CFL? Oh, do you know anything about the rules of the CFL? Hey, do you enjoy watching CFL? Like, I remember back in the day when I used to go, I'd go to the Marvel Mall. That's where the Night of the Living Dead, shout it out. But they used to have these people, like they were called survey people. They would basically tell you, okay, here's the thing. Here's a movie. You're going to watch a movie. And we want you to see a survey that you like it, and you got questions in it, and what you don't like it about it, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I feel like they need to go talk to the people of the cities who they really want and say, hey, do you know anything about CFL? And if you like CFL, do you want a team here? And if so, come with me, look out the sports here, let's watch a game here. and blah, 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 blah. And they did this in Pittsburgh right now because they're doing research of having a WNBA team and having an NBA team in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And personally, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think they'd rather go to Las Vegas and Seattle first before they even think about Pittsburgh.
Sure.
And it's just like you have to find a way to win the hearts of the people in these cities. And not only that, you have to deal with, okay, you got the summer. Say the Tigers is good. Say the Twins are good. Say the Mariners are good. Now you have to deal with that situation. Say the NBA team is good. They have to deal with the playoff game. They have to deal with the hockey playoffs thing. And guess what? You got to deal with high school football. And you got to deal with college football. Then you got to deal with the NFL football. And you're definitely in the back burners of all the sports. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the biggest obstacle of the CFL in America. And I'm worried about they're going to go willy-nilly and say, oh, let's have a team in Sacramento again. You know?
Well, I think the issue you mentioned with Pittsburgh is, I think I mentioned it on another show, the issue we have in Baltimore. Corporate support. I mean, Pittsburgh, yes, you have like Heinz Ketchup, you have PPG, Pittsburgh Paint and stuff like that. But, I mean, I think even with Memphis, when they had the AAF team, they called themselves, I think, the Express, because Federal Express, I think, is headquarters there. So you had that. But even so, yeah, I think it's a big driver. I mean, it's like, obviously you want the fan support, but you also need the big companies to foster corporate support there. I mean, it was like, I actually read an article, and I was surprised this happened since Under Armour's based in Maryland. They said that the Under Armour Maryland offices they're closing down a big office they had in Portland, Oregon, and they're moving them over to Baltimore. And I was surprised at that, but then I figured, okay, they're opening an office to compete with Nike, because I think they're based in Oregon too. But so yeah, you have. I think those are two components you need there, and the other thing is, it's like you said, in the South, it's structured differently. I'm seeing this with the UFL. Birmingham fans, they have monster TV ratings. I think that's the only reason they keep the team there, because it's like their attendance for the Stallions is atrocious. They always like, well, why do they have to have Sunday games? And it's like, you're complaining about professional football on Sunday. Are you kidding me? And then they complain about, well, we have a lot of people that go to church, and we have Easter, and we have Mother's Day. And it's like, it's like a different dynamic down there. It's kind of like, if it's not Crimson Tide, Auburn, or NASCAR, Birmingham won't support it. They pride with so many different leagues there. Memphis is kind of the same way. Texas, they just love football, and you mentioned about high school football. That's probably among the biggest states in the country for that. And
my buddy do high school football coverage and stuff like that. There's certain parts of Texas, high school football trumps over college football. Like, they got season tickets. Season tickets to high school football game cost as much as my Steelers season tickets.
Oh my
I'm like, what? Kyler Murray was on this team, the Allen High School. They got a $250 million stadium. It's the same amount of Mosaic Stadium.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah, and this is insane, just for high school football. And like I say, it's like you say about the Birmingham Stallions, and correct me if I'm wrong, like NFL they really want an NFL team in Alabama. They try everything possible, but like I say, the fans ain't gonna go because it's row tie row, and they'll watch it on TV at home. That's why they the highest rating, because they'll watch it on TV, but they won't go to the games. You know
Right.
what I mean? But St. Louis, and then someone talk about St. Louis deserve a team. Like St. Louis, it sucks because they had a good crowd for the Rams, but
Right.
and the Battlehawks they packed the house there too. But St. Louis, the reason why St. Louis is good right now because there's nothing else going on in St. Louis. The Cardinals is on a decline. You got a soccer team that no one cares for, and that's the thing. Like they got MLS teams. Like there's so much MLS teams I don't even know.
Right. Yeah, I
You
know.
know?
I used to have press cards for DC United, but they added on so many other teams I never even heard of. But
like I didn't know until last month they had a team in Nashville.
You're right.
Know?
I think that's fairly recent too. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, they got them in Cincinnati, Kansas City, so many other markets, and then probably people wouldn't know that there's one in Miami if it wasn't for Messi. But
yeah,
you know.
Now I just think the reason why people want to do this, and even the UFL situation, because they're using soccer-sized stadiums, and they feel like, okay, we make a reasonable price, and we don't need to have a 90,000 seat stadium. We can have a 20 or 15,000 seat stadium, and it look good at the candy eye, and say, okay, this is sell out because 15,000 people go to these games. Certain stadiums, certain cities will support that, and if it wasn't no UFL and CFL say, okay, let's have a team in DC, I think they will support that. But whenever Washington NFL team come, no one will go to that game, and that's the big battle. And I don't know, and it's like I say, Friday nights, and people are surprised, and you notice DC is also a hotbed for high school football too, right? Like
Probably more so than Baltimore, but I mean, I wouldn't compare it to like Texas or even like Central, like near where you live, northeastern Pennsylvania, or I mean, you had a lot of good quarterbacks come from there, like Namath and Marino and guys like that. But
and I'm trying to work on it. Speaking of that, I'm trying to work on that Ron Lancaster thing because he went to Clareton, and that's like in our city, so I see that. But it's like I like the vision, I really do, but I think the problem in hand, they need to get the Canadian eyes first. You know.
And I think, and part of the reason they had the expansion last time, I see some parallels. There are current teams in the CFL that are having money problems. So I think the Commissioner Johnson wants to get them straightened out first. I mean, he came up with these ideas that I think will generate more money and more scoring, which a lot of people disagree with. But I think, like I said, he's just trying to get some more money in there because quite frankly, Phil, I don't feel like he has faith in the fans of helping them make money. So he's trying to get these media deals and stuff like that, and I don't know.
Like how I would do it, and this is personally how I would do it, is I would go like a fact finder mention, find like the big cities or the cities that's struggling with the CFL. You need to find a way to talk to the people. And I'm not saying talk to millions of people. I'm just saying the majority of the people say, hey, how do you feel about the CFL team? Hey, guess what? The Argonauts won won the Grey Cup 2 years ago. How do you feel about that? What can you do to find a way to bring yourself to the BMO Stadium? What can we do to get you to go to BC Place or Commonwealth Stadium or McMahon Stadium? Because that's the problem. Yes, I know they don't care about. I think Commissioner Stewart, Commissioner Johnson don't really understand that the fans is the reason why CFL is what it is. It's not rules. It's just the fans, the players, the tradition, the passion. That's what it's all about. That's what people come to see. And it's not about rules. And that's...
And I think what we were talking about before with Edmonton, I think it's generational. And I've even read like some on our group, and I think another group I read a lot at CFL Chatter, and I don't know, it seems like that group's kind of like angry or something. But one thing he said where they were like saying, well, how come Toronto and Vancouver's getting big crowds for soccer, but they can't draw for CFL? And they said there's a lot like a high immigrant population in those cities. I saw that in Toronto. It seemed like there were a lot of Hindi people up there. And, it's like, I've even heard a lot of people use that pejoratively with Tim Hortons calling it Sing Hortons and stuff like that. But they say, like, I think the CFL fans there, when I went with Kim, it seemed like it was an older crowd. Whereas probably the younger sports fans in that city probably like soccer more because they said they do all right with attendance-wise with Toronto FC even in the MLS. But so maybe, I don't know, it's kind of like what baseball's trying to do here too. They're trying to get the younger fans. It's like older fans are like us, we're invested, okay? But younger fans, it's kind of like they have to market to them like they do with Netflix. They have like second screen viewing. It's like they have the attention span of like a Tic Tac, and they gotta find a way to get their attention and get them stop looking at the doggone phone when you're three rows behind home plate. The same thing I think with the CFL. It's just younger generations I think are just more easily distracted, and I think CFL's got to tune into that. And I think one of the things we talked about, I think, will help, and I think they're clamoring for, is a video game. You bring that in, I think you might get some more people into it.
Yeah, and like I say, like you don't need the big dogs at EA Sports and all the 2Ks, even though it'd be ideal. But the fact is, have a platform, and I remember they had a platform in '99. I remember they had a platform in 2017. Now, are the games look great? No, it was one of the worst craps I ever played in my life.
Right.
But they had a platform, right? It sucks because America couldn't get it.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you gotta have a platform in that. You gotta have. Okay, I'm surprised they don't have a. I'm surprised they don't have a game, and I guarantee the players be all for it.
Oh, sure. Because they'll get money off of it, yeah.
But you know how it is. Everybody wants money for likeness. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants money for. It's such a capitalist situation. Like, okay, or how much money you want to put the BC Lions name rights or something,
right?
Or the player rights, and how much revenue, how much royalty and stuff like that, and you have their names, you ain't making no money with your own game.
Right.
And it's a dicey situation at that, like you want to have BC Lions instead of Vancouver Cougars or the Toronto Maples or something,
right.
Like we want the real guys. We want to see Brady over there run over guys. We want to see Nathan Rourke throw a 50-yarder.
Yeah, and I think they would probably have to start off like Madden did. We mentioned last week, where they get the player association first. Where Toronto can't call themselves the Argonauts, but they'll still be. Their uniforms will still be double blue, but they'll still have Kelly. They'll still have whoever, and I don't know. Maybe that might be the way to go first, and then build on it. Now, Bill, you had said something in other episodes too that might also attract younger viewers. We have the Olympics coming up in 28, and the event they're adding is flag football, and I've even seen like on the, and I'm sure you have too, on the CFL Plus broadcast, they actually have a commercial for that. So now you had mentioned it to me off the air. You had some things about that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think if you want to make money, if you want to make money, I will say if it's struggling in 2028, you have to bring your best players to the flag football Olympics. We already know that the NFL is going to bring their guys. And they're going to bring their, I wouldn't say top guys, but they're going to bring their guys.
Right.
What's so great is national, what do they call it, national patriotism.
Yeah.
And I remember that Sidney Crosby, a lot of people hate him in Canada because he's good.
Mm-hmm.
But he put that Canadian jersey on, and he beat America, beat USA in the hockey gold medal. Right. The whole country went nuts. Even America, even the American hockey team that beat Canada, the whole country go together.
Sure.
What I'm trying to say here is, if you bring your top guys in the CFL, your top Canadians, and they find a way and they kick in some ass against other teams, and eventually beat, and this is a big if, beat the NFL teams and win gold. Not only that's going to revenue. You got national heroes, and then you got revenue money. People will come because, hey, these are the guys that beat the NFL guys. I know it's not a tackle game. It's an even situation during the flag. I'm just saying, what you got nothing to lose. Bring all your guys, and don't even think about having NFL guys who are from Canada to be on your team. Even though they're going to try everything possible to get NFL guys from Canada to be on their team. Have your top CFL guys play against NFL guys from America on a world stage. Everybody's watching. Millions and millions and billions of people watch the Olympics, especially when they watch this flag football games.
Right.
And if Canada do great, and Canada, even if they come in silver, people will come see these guys play. Like, holy hell, Nathan Rourke can throw the ball like that? Right. We're going to go down to the game.
And you know what? I think Canada has a better chance of making that happen than the U.S., and I'll tell you why. I think with the U.S., I think what they'll do is if they get NFL guys, they'll get backups or guys who played in the UFL or high division college. I don't see them getting a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or any, because I think a lot of the teams might tell them, say, look, we got $250 million guaranteed on you. We don't want you, pulling a hamstring or getting hurt doing this, and some players will do it anyway, but it's I think I saw the highest salary in the CFL was I don't know, 450, 500, something like that. So it's still money that, as Kim likes to say to me, I can budget that. But, it's not as much as, top tier NFL quarterbacks are making. So, yeah.
No. And it's how I'll throw another sport. And America, during the 90s, we scoff at soccer. Okay? And I seen this, and you've seen it. The seed of American soccer was 1994.
Right.
Now, everybody and their mom came to see the World Cup in '94. Hell, I went to the World Cup game in the Pontiac Silverdome. It was 90,000 people, and packed to see a very boring sport in my eyes. But
right.
But the fact. then you got the Girls World Cup, 1999, when they won their World Cup championship. Everybody, their mom, men, everybody, their mom, their kids want to play soccer because of that.
Yeah.
Just like hockey, everyone see how good are these U.S. hockey players. Everybody, their mom want to play hockey.
Sure.
Everybody want to play soccer. It's like golf. Everyone want to play golf because of Tiger Woods.
Right.
It's just like I say. If you do something like that, it would magnify the people who are in Canada. So, the choice is you. Like, you really want revenue. You really want people to care about your sport. You bring your best guys. I know it'll be during the CFL season, but a couple 1 or 2 weeks. 1 or 2 weeks for a bigger revenue, a risk for a bigger revenue, I'll take the risk any day of the week.
Right.
You know?
And unfortunately, Phil, with sports, and we talked about this with our dads and all this other stuff, unfortunately, this is going to sound really messed up for me to say this. A lot of times, sports, they market like drug dealers. They go after kids. You get the kids hooked, they're hooked for life, you know, and then they pass it on to generations and stuff. It's the old mommy, take the kids, you know, have a team go to, like, I don't know, like a school function or something, and they're like, oh, I want to see this. Mommy, take me. Daddy, take me. You know, so, and that, in fact, I think it definitely affected me and you with our dads, you know, taking us to sports and all. I know it did with mine. So, yeah, I could see that. And with the Olympics, like you said, and like with the women's soccer, people thought differently. With men's soccer, they thought, okay, that's just Europe, that's their thing. With the women's soccer, people thought, well, wait a minute, I take little Missy to play rec league soccer, and then they see the heroes, they see like Mia Hamm and, you know, like Julie Stroud and Brianna Scurry, and then later on, you know, Hope Solo and Abby Wambach and ladies like that, and, you know, all of a sudden they're kind of like, oh, wow, I want to be like them. And then next thing you know, they're old enough, they're in their late teens, early 20s, and start playing for Team USA too. So, yeah, it's...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just think, like I say, like, national heroes get I hate to say, like, national heroes get revenue cash. And that's how it goes. And like I say, soccer has now became a big entity to American lifestyle. I personally think, and I hate to say, I think within 10 or 15 years, I think soccer is going to be toe-to-toe with NFL. And it's only going to go, it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I say, like the national stage, if you do good against the national stage, everybody and their mom gonna want a piece of that action when you get back. It's like that's how it is. Like CFL, like say for example, USA Soccer is doing really good right now. I guarantee you, unless they lose to the knockout game, just say they make it to the semifinals. As long as that's a win for this country. Everybody, all those MLS teams, even though they're not that good, even though it's sell out now, it's going to sell out more. And money, they're going to charge more money to go to these games because everybody wants a piece of the action.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And like I say, CFL need to think about this, and they need to find I know a couple of guys are willing to do it. Nathan Rourke is willing to do it. Brady Rivera is willing to do it. The Philpott brothers are willing to do it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like, they doing everything possible, and guess what? They're promoting. Not only that, they promoted flag football to the kids.
Yeah.
And flag football is starting to be a thing because the Western Pennsylvania, they finally passed a bill that they can make flag football a high school sport.
All right.
Men and women. So NFL got a couple of reps that trying to make flag football happen, but you get Jalen Hurts, by the time 2028, he'll be on a bench anyway. But but that's the thing, and I'm really excited to see this. So CFL, go for it.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see. I'm looking forward to that next summer. Well, Phil, we're about an hour in already, brother, but we haven't even spoke about the 4 games that happened this past week, and so I don't know. I think we should get into that, man. It's because
absolutely.
We could probably do an hour on this. So
yeah, and we're gonna talk about that. But the first thing first, we actually got a sponsor. How about that? You agree on this?
Yeah, it's looking promising. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we got a sponsor of our podcast. Is Jacob's Taverns. It's over 300 different styles of whiskey. You name it, we have it. They have Irish whiskey. They have bourbon, Kentucky bourbon. Hell, they got Canadian whiskey. They got the top tier. They got the bottom tier. Different types of drinks. All the stuff you like. And this is the best place I can go to in Pittsburgh. And guess what? It's CFL friendly. So that's my little plug here to our sponsor right here. And if you in the Pittsburgh area, you go to Jacob's Taverns. Is a J.G.O.U.G.H. Ask the name of the CFL podcast. You get 10% off of your meal and drinks. So go to Jacob's in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh people go to Jacob's. It's the best place to go to CFL watching football. So that's our sponsor. Yay!
I looked at the menu of that, and I saw the variety of whiskeys, a variety of food. It looks like a nice place. So I don't know. I might have to get like an Uber to drive 4 hours over there. I don't know, man.
Oh yeah. Come on over. We'll have a good time at that, and it's a good place to go. And we're trying to do everything possible to have CFL games there all the time. So yeah, come to Jacob's. They love our work on the podcast, and they appreciate it. They're proud of us to say, hey, use 10% off if anybody listens to it. And also, we got free cool shirts, and I'm all about it.
All right, cool. Well, I've got some stuff to send out to you from the United Bowl. I'll have my address on there, and
I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I'll show that to the me and Brandy videos.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
well, I'm looking forward to watching games there, and especially if they're anything like the games that we saw this past weekend. Let's dig into that right now.
Well, yeah, definitely. The first game we had is a Friday night football game. It's against my Hamilton Tiger Cats against the BC Lions. Now, I don't know what's going on in Vancouver over there, BC Lions. I really have high hopes for BC Lions. I still do have high hopes. I get it. There's a lot of injuries. Pretty much all their wide receiver core did not play this game.
Oof.
But the fact is, there's a problem in BC right now, and everything James Butler ain't running the ball right. McGinnis is hurt. Hatcher is hurt. Cotoy is hurt, and pretty much it's just troubled times in the BC Lions. But Hamilton Tiger Cats, they kick another cylinder of this game, and Bo Levi Calvary that game, the first half of it, and basically like I told you the pregame, the key, and once Kenny Lawler get in groove, this is one of the most dangerous teams in the CFL. Like, Bo Levi Mitchell in the second half didn't really have to throw the ball that much. And he was 15-18, 285 yards, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns, that's what I say. Kenny Lawler looked great, even though, yeah, he made beautiful catches. I saw this crazy catch. It was like he got flipped over, but he still caught it.
Right.
He caught that one-handed touchdown. It was insane. DeAndre Smith, even though he had 2 receptions, but 72 yards, that touchdown the first play of the game was insane. Like, DeAndre Smith, Kenny Lawler, and Giddens Jr., the ex-Argo and ex-Elks, this team, these 3 guys, and Sal Wheatfall, he didn't do that much, but these are the best wide receiver corps in football, and they proved they flexed their muscles on Friday, and the defense looked great. Roundtree, the third running back, looked amazing. Like, yeah, I'm glazing about my team. I have every right to be, and this team flexed their muscles. Now they need to keep the momentum going. They need to keep on going because Montreal is going to be good. Toronto is surprisingly going to be good. And then BC Lions, they need to get it going because they can't be 0-3 after this week. Because if they're 0-3, it's hard to catch Saskatchewan. It's hard to catch Winnipeg.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and hell, it'll be hard to catch Edmonton now if they keep on playing the toughness. So,
well,
the BC Lions got the moment of clarity right now. They need to find a way, and I feel like Rourke, all his men is all hurt. The defense, they don't have they seem like they missing my man from Robert Morris Carter as they miss him a lot because their secondary looked putrid. So
right.
BC need a lot of work.
Okay.
So, and also shout out and the tight end Maximilian Meng.
Thank you.
This guy, this guy is starting to be my personal favorite player from Hamilton. This guy, he's goal line gold. Like he reminds me of Big Darnell Washington for the Steelers. Like all he do is score touchdowns. Like if he's in the goal line, he's like 6'6". He's catching the ball. Like he got 4 touchdowns already this year. It's insane.
Yeah.
You know?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
he had 2 in this game, and it seems like Bo Levi Mitchell, you kept saying earlier in the year that he needed to find other targets besides Lawler, and it seems like he's doing that. He's spraying the ball around well. And one thing I noticed with this game with BC, early on, the first quarter, it seemed like they moved the ball around okay. They just couldn't get in the end zone. All he had kept having to settle for field goals. And then I think either late in the first quarter or early in the second quarter, Rourke tried to force a bomb, and then he got picked off. And I think just the wheels fell off the cart from then on. So it was.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I watched it. Like they passing the ball right down the middle, and suddenly, I hate to say the word conservative, but they start trying to force the James Butler, like when they in the field goal range. Like, all right, your passion is working. Keep throwing the ball. Like, make it 2nd and 3. Then you think about running the ball instead of running the ball on 1st and 10 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that was the big problem. I think they went conservative in the first and when they got in the field goal range. And
especially when you compare it to how Bo Levi was throwing. He was throwing 50, 60-yard bombs, and his receivers, like you mentioned, they were making amazing catches. I mean, they could probably, if they lose every other game the year, Phil, they could probably use this game as a highlight reel, for the year. It was just amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even last week, they just this is a dangerous team. This is the Hamilton team I'm seeing here, and I feel like the message was sent against Montreal. Like we got to go all into this because who knows what next year is gonna be. So
yeah.
hats off to Hamilton and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to watch that a little late because I was out and about. So that was
Gotcha.
awesome. Yeah. So
One play I want to.
But
Yeah, one play I want to mention from that game though, and it seems like there's a trend with this. BC did this one thing where I think Hamilton missed a field goal attempt, and then they tried to run it out of the end zone, and they were stopped at the 2. And where he could have knelt down, he could have given Hamilton the roost, but they could have got the ball at the 40-yard line. I don't know. I've seen like a few teams do that in the last couple of weeks, Bill. I don't know if it's because they don't know the new Rouge rule or not, but it's like, yeah, I saw that as, I thought that was a cranial cramp on his part, man. I don't know.
I seen a lot of that. Actually, a lot of this week about that. Like, all right, I understand you don't want to give up the point and stuff, but you're at like the 1-yard line and you're at the 2-yard line, and it's a long field of playing, and it was like, it was like you setting yourself up for punting, you're setting yourself up for maybe a safety or a turnover, and it's all that stuff. And we're going to go straight to that. Speaking of that, we're going to go to one of the triple headers in the next game. And we saw a lot of those getting out of the end zone plays of the Toronto and Ottawas, you know?
Right.
Toronto flexed their muscles against Ottawa, and rightfully so. But, you know, there's a lot of situation with Toronto. They had a lot of interceptions in this game. They had a lot of turnovers this game. But Toronto, they are looking good. The defense, look, they was hitting Meyer. They was picking off stuff, and watch out for these receivers in Toronto. Like Kevin Mattel. I think he might be the top receiver in the CFL. Kevin Mattel was once again over 150 plus yards, and these guys, like, usually thought it'll be Coxey team. I see Coxey as wide receiver 3 on this team. Like, there's so many good guys on his receivers on this team. It's amazing. Like, Unger Dardard, he's solid. He reminds me of like a Wes Welker. He's a yard mover. Tyler Coleman is. I like this guy. This guy last week he had 100-something yards and a touchdown. This week he have a touchdown. You got McCabe Polk. He's always going to be the man and got good hands and stuff like that. Chad Kelly got a lot of tools around. He had 424 yards. He had a good game, but that big 4 interception right there is a big. I'm worried about that because he was chucking the ball a lot, and that's the thing like that. He got great receivers, and he can do this against Ottawa, but there's no way he can do this against Hamilton or the good teams like that.
Right.
But,
and yeah, you made a very good point about that. But here's the thing with these two games, Phil. Even though they had similar final scores, the BC Hamilton, it was more because BC got the 2 garbage time touchdowns, you know. And so it's like if you had Rourke and the receiver he threw to, if you had them in fantasy, they helped you out. But other than that, yeah, BC, bleh, whatever. The Toronto-Ottawa game, I felt like Ottawa was hanging with them for a long time, and then Toronto just kind of pulled out a little bit at the end. But yeah, Ottawa needs some help, I think, offensively though. But I think defensively, I think they were hanging with them for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the reason why Ottawa needs some help, but they got a young offensive line. I think the offensive line is going to be pretty good in the future because they got 2 first-round picks of the 2 overall first-round picks. They got to find a way to gel that. Meyer, now we got possibly maybe, and they say it's not a quarterback controversy, but I feel like there's something. Drew Brown might be popping out next game, and there ain't gonna be no Max Duggan, I'll tell you that. But because he got released. But Greg Bell. That was his first game back from injury. Greg Bell was the top one of the top running backs of last year with Hamilton, but he didn't do. He had 29 yards and 2.6. But here's the thing: Ottawa have good receivers on this team. They got Eberhard. He used to play for BC. Yeah, he did good. He had 129 yards and a touchdown. That was a sweet little touchdown he made. And Geno Lewis, he got the consistent numbers, and Pimpleton and all that stuff. It's just they got the team. It's just the O-line is the big problem right there. And youth, there's a lot of talent, but the youth is overtaking the talent, and they're gonna have some growing pains this year. And who knows? I might be wrong about it, but they got two good running backs, they got a good wide receiver, and they got solid quarterback play. It's just that offensive line is that glaring hole.
One thing I noticed about was we were talking about in previous episodes about Toronto and Vancouver basically being World Cup blocked for their home games. The observation I'm making, it seems like Toronto's doing what I thought BC would be doing, and the other way around. Where it's like Toronto's playing top on the road so far, where BC is stumbling, bumbling. And I thought it would be the other way around. I thought BC would have enough talent to pull through, and Toronto would be back to the double blue tidy bowl like last year. But I mean, I don't know.
And it's crazy because BC going to have a couple home games, and Toronto ain't got home games. No. And Toronto's, they hanging in on these teams. They hang again last week against
Montreal.
Yeah. And Toronto's the team, that pesky team, and Chad Kelly may throw like 80 interceptions, but Chad Kelly always going to make you be there at the end of the game. So
right.
And plus, even if Chad Kelly go down, you got Arbuckle in the wing. He's a solid backup guy, and that's what you need. So,
although Arbuckle, I saw him in person last year. He's another interception-prone guy. I think. Well, last year when we went, he didn't throw. I think he threw like 2 picks, and then there were like 2 other fumbles. It was like the Argos. It had like 4 or 5 turnovers against Edmonton, and they still wound up winning. With a walk-up field goal. It was, that was crazy.
It's like I remember Chad Kelly. It was like the East Finals. It wasn't like 2 years ago. It was 3 years ago when they had it at home, and Montreal played them. And I had never seen something like this. Kelly just threw like 6 or 7 interceptions. I'm like, what the?
Right.
And that was the thing. I was like this guy got an arm and stuff like that. I remember this guy from Ole Miss and stuff like that. And like this guy got an arm, but every time he tried to play hero ball, he threw a little interception. So
right.
He can get away with this against Ottawa, but if he's gonna do that against like Montreal and Hamilton and all the West teams. Yeah. It's not going to be 44-24, I tell you that.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the next game. That was far from being a 41-24 game. Montreal taking on the Edmonton Eskimos. Sorry, I got that story in my mind. The Edmonton Elks. Excuse me. Sorry, Inuit people. Edmonton Elks. The other E word. Okay.
Other E word, yeah. Yeah, and this was epic in many proportions, this good games. And I tell you what, once again, I predict Edmonton to beat Montreal. I had to rub it into Brandy about it.
Yeah, rub it into me too, because I picked Montreal for it.
I tell you what, and even the Montreal fans, you cannot get mad about this. This was a hell of a game. Davis Alexander is showing how Davis Alexander is. And like how I say about this, if you have Montreal and you play against Montreal, you better be winning by 10 or 20 points, because fourth quarter, Davis Alexander is going to light up. And what happened. Now, at first, I thought, oh, here we go. It's going to be Montreal going to go to Edmonton. They're going to blow them out, blah, blah, blah. Then suddenly, like, the wetness of the field, the rain and all that stuff, Edmonton started catching fire in the second quarter. Like, Austin Mack was catching balls from Cody Fajaro, and Cody Fajaro is looking at Cody Fajaro in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And then third quarter Justin Rankin, which I think Justin Rankin is the best player in the CFL, just flexed his muscle. He ran that 47-yard touchdown. He ran over these guys and he scored a touchdown. And then he did it back to back. It was freaking amazing.
Yeah, it was on 3rd and 2 and he took it out for 36 yards. That was crazy.
Yeah, and it was crazy. And not only, like, I hate to say it, he's going to be an NFL player next year. I am going to stick to it because this not only he can run the ball, he can catch the ball too. And it's just like this is the guy this guy is going for, if it'll be the most outstanding player award, obviously he's going to be on there. That's what I think. Right. And Edmonton was winning by 10, like the middle, like 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, and David Alexander put on his cape, went down the field, scored a touchdown, and first of all, shout out to Travis Deese. Travis Deese is a good running back, and he's not even the starting running back. Stevie Scotch is still out, and Deese is like, he had 100 yards. He had 100 yards this game too. He had 100 yards the last 3 games, and the way how strategic Davis Alexander was with Tyson Philpott and Tyler Snead. These guys are like just reliable to Davis Alexander. They went down the field, scored a touchdown, trusting the defense to make a stop. Came down the field, tied it up, put it in overtime. Now, they put the trust on Deese's again, and they went deep, and they got a field goal. They didn't went nowhere. Now, this was a controversial ending, I think. The question is, even Justin Ranks made a huge fumble at the end. Right. The real question is, who had that ball? Did Montreal have that ball, or Edmonton had that ball? And so I replayed this a couple of times. Like, I don't know who got that ball. Because it went out of bounds.
I think they had to go to replay to determine that too. That was
And the matter of inches, the inches in Montreal could have won. It could have been the second week they forced a fumble in the overtime, but Edmonton got the ball, and they did a RPO to Cody Fajaro, scoring a touchdown, and Edmonton won the game. And it was crazy, and the hundreds of Edmonton fans were going nuts for it, and I was going nuts for it.
Well, yeah, it was a good hard-fought win. I want to give a shout-out to Montreal kickers Montos Diaz. They said at the beginning of the game he was a game-time decision because he had a groin injury. I don't care if you play football or not. Any guy hearing that, you automatically got their sympathy. But his first field goal attempt was 50 yards. He, did it cleanly. So I guess there wasn't a problem there. But man, that's toughness right there.
I tell you what, Montos Diaz and Castillo from Winnipeg, 2 of the most clutch kickers in the CFL. Like with Montos Diaz, it's kind of like Justin Tucker, and I know Justin Tucker and all the whatnot, but when I see Justin Tucker against the Steelers, when he kick a field goal, I was like, oh boy, it's over.
Right.
That's exactly how I feel about Montos Diaz. When Montos Diaz came out, I was like, this guy's clutch. He's going to make these kicks. And that's how I feel about that. And Montos Diaz is just like, he's a Terminator of the kickers,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, like I say, it's a hard-fought win, and I think both teams, I hate to say this cliche, there's no losers in this game, and And shout out to Davis Alexander. Usually you lose, you see the people all angry. He was like congratulating everyone and stuff like that. And a lot of people give him the wrong rub about Alexander. I just think Alexandra is a hell of a player, and he's just a very fiery player. And I think this ain't gonna set back Montreal. I just think this is a good game, like two good teams and two good coaches too. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, so, and then we got the next game. I think this next game is one of the games of the week, too.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, these two teams, they saw that as like, all right, hold our Molson. We'll show you what we can do. Good God, this was a hell of a game, too.
Yeah. When I see Saskatchewan and Calgary play each other, especially at Calgary, I expect nothing but the best. I remember every time they go to Calgary, Saskatchewan always play. For some reason, Saskatchewan play their best games up there. And I even told Brandy, like, I'm not going out Saturday night. Her best friend was there, like, y'all should watch this game. That's what I'm saying. Y'all should watch this game. Right. So, at first, it looked like, this is going to be a blowout. Saskatchewan is flexing the muscles, what's-the-face looking good, and Trevor Harris looking good. A.J. Ouellette was running people over. Shefford Bayfield, touchdown maker. He made a beautiful touchdown in the second quarter. Like he did like a little slant, and he just stiff armed two guys to score a 40-yard touchdown. That was pretty sick. And then suddenly they did an onside kick to get the ball back, and then they score again. And then they got the ball back, and this is how Calgary got the momentum back. They missed a field goal, and they ran back a 108-yard touchdown at the end of the half. And it was the special team in Calgary was nuts. And then suddenly, obviously, Saskatchewan still got the hole. And then fourth quarter came. Vernon Adams III became Davis Alexander. He was like, all right, we won't lose this game. And they came to score these touchdowns quick. And Davis, Derek Mills, yeah, man, I'm losing my mind here. Derek Mills, he looked like he ran 100 yards here. And the other Phil Plott, he looked like $1 million too. They tied the game. And then suddenly, they got stalled, got a field goal by Calgary, and Saskatchewan, they went down the field and they scored a touchdown, and Saskatchewan win by overtime. And there's a lot of good things for both teams, but Calgary in the same boat in BC Lions. They're 0-2. I can't wait for this week game, because this is going to be, I hate to say it's a do-or-die game for BC or Calgary.
Right.
One of them has to win. I really like this Eric Brooks guy from Calgary. He's the new wide receiver. It's showing that Calgary really missing Alford a lot. And Alford's doing his thing in NFL now. But Alford looked, when they had the team with Alford last year, they looked like an unstoppable offense. Even though Vernon Adams Jr. is just like he's an animal out there, but they need more on the defense. The defense did not look good at all whatsoever, and even though they forced that big turnover in the beginning of the first quarter, but they did not look good at all. And Vernon Adams can only do so much. Now, let's go to the Saskatchewan side of it. Oops, I got my notes here. Trevor Harris, the pride of Edinburgh, that's up in Pennsylvania. He just looked like Trevor Harris. He's 40 years old. Looked like he's 25 years old. He had 350 yards passing. Yeah. And he's using his guys, like the guys that got him to the Grey Cup last year. Thinking about the Sam Emilius, Schaefer Baker, Keyshawn Johnson, all those guys, AJ Olette, and even short down guys like Tommy Stevens, the 6'5" quarterback. They're using these guys the right way, and they do it very methodically. And then their defense, even though they 37 points against Calgary, and they did it without Milligan this game. This team hit hard. Is all by Coach Mace. Coach Mace is a no BS kind of guy, and it's just show about this team, and they're ready to win a second Grey Cup. I'm kicking myself not picking them. I'm kicking myself for this. This team, if they don't have injury, this team gonna run away to the West. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, I agree. Especially Oled. I think he had a decent game too. They are gonna be tough to beat. I mean, you could pick just about anybody in that West Division, except for oddly enough, the way they're playing so far, BC. So I don't know. It's
it's crazy. It's like we may rant about BC and Calgary or 0-2. Like it's still a tough team, and that's the thing about it. Like I look at with their little power rankings today, and they got like BC down at 9th or 8th. I'm like, no way, I don't know.
Calgary had two tough losses. They were in both in their previous game. So it's like, you can't sleep on them. That's for sure.
And the problem with Calgary is they wake up a little bit too late. They start that fumble they did, and then I'm like, all right. It's 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, the defense just went idle for 2 quarters, and it's like it's so much. They almost did it. They almost did the unthinkable, but there's so much unnecessary things to try to win the game. You know what I mean? Like it's hero ball, pretty much. So,
right.
So it's gonna be good, and guess what? I can't wait for this week, because I can say 3 of the 4 games are gonna be hell of a games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that.
All right. Well, before we get to that, let's get to keep us up on our own standings with the picks. Now, going into this week, we were tied at 3-3. This week, because we had 4 games, each of us finished with 3-1. We both won on Toronto and Hamilton. We disagreed about Montreal and Edmonton. You won that game. We also disagreed about Saskatchewan and Calgary. I won that game. So right now we're both tied at 6-4. So
it's fun, and then there's a competition. Unfortunately, my wife she's playing catch up for me. So it's all good.
Well, still plenty of football left. So she could catch up. Calgary and BC could catch up too. A lot of these teams, they can make things happen, I think, Bill. So, all right, let's get on. Sorry, go ahead.
I remember Montreal looked like dead in the water. They catch fire and they made it to the Grey Cup.
Right. Well, last year without Davis Alexander, they looked like I said, they were Jekyll and Hyde. It's like without them, man, they didn't look good. But then Davis Alexander, it's like it's a whole different team.
Absolutely. And then we're going to see what these games happen, and we got a full-fledged weekend of it. We actually got a Thursday to Sunday games. No doubleheaders after that.
Right. And so we got all 8 teams. The only one that's on a bye is your Tiger Cats. So, but still playing good football this week. Let's get into it, my friend.
Yeah. It's the first game. Let me get my notes here. Oops. Too much here. Let's see. Ooh. Hold on. Too much. Wrong notes. Hold on. Sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Let's see. Here we go. We're in let's see, week 4. It's gonna be a hell of a game right here. The Edmonton Elks versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Winnipeg is they had a bye last week. They had to lick their wounds against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They was 1-1. Edmonton is on good vibration going on with this team. They're 2-0, and they're going at the game at Princeton Auto Stadium. I really think it's going to be a hell of a game. People think Winnipeg's going to blow them out. I don't think so. I think if Edmonton they want to keep it going, they got to look at the tapes of the Hamilton Tiger Cat game and see how Larry Roundtree had over 150-plus yards on that Winnipeg Asian defense, and they're going to find a way to use Justin Rankin everywhere. But I still think the old Grizzly vets of Winnipeg at home, and I don't think it's going to rain. And I think Winnipeg going to find a way to win this game. I just think it will be very close. I think Winnipeg will win this game, and I think Edmonton will find a way to make a good game out of it.
Yeah. Well, Winnipeg is a hostile place to play, and they're always tough to beat at home. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm impressed with what Edmonton did, especially with Rankin. I'm going for the upset on this one, Phil. I'm going with the Elks.
You know what? You know the crazy thing, if you're not picking Winnipeg, I'm rooting for Edmonton. That's going to be a hell of a game. I'm sorry for my people from Winnipeg. It's a likable team for Edmonton, but I'm still picking Winnipeg to win. So
right.
Yeah, so that's going to be a good one, and that's going to be on TSN up in the States, up in Canada, and CFL Plus in the States. So it won't be on CSL Sports. So check it up on your internet, your phones, your tablet, whatnots. So the next game, this is going to be a good game. This is right up your alley. Your Toronto Argonauts. There are 1-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
1-1.
Yep.
And they're going to play the 2-0 Saskatchewan Roughriders at Saskatchewan at 9 o'clock on TSN up in Canada and CBS Sports Network in the States. So if you want to try to watch it in the States, either get a Fire Stick or find your cable to find CBS Sports Network.
Yeah.
Now,
or I might listen to it on the radio, actually, but I might do that too.
Yeah, radio's better too. So, so Toronto. Last year, Toronto almost beat Saskatchewan in Saskatchewan. And this is with Arbuckle in them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Toronto got the momentum. So Saskatchewan. Toronto, they got nothing to lose because they're road warriors. And Toronto, I really think this is going to be a close game again. But I think Saskatchewan is going to win. But if Toronto got to win this game, they have to find a way to get Hicks running the ball. And find a way to find your guys, find your chain movers. And we're talking about Unger and Common. Unger and Common, they got hands and they can move the ball. They got yak yards, and then they'll set up the deep ball by Mattel. Mattel remind me like a younger Nick Dempsey. And this team is on high. They're on a good high. They're playing house money because they don't got a home field.
Right.
And I think this is gonna be a good game. I think Saskatchewan. The key is they gotta still flex their muscles. They got to protect Trevor Harris, which they do. Protect Trevor Harris. If you protect him, your stars will flourish. And Millis. Schaefer Baker, A.J. Olette, all those guys, Keyshawn Johnson. If you protect Harris,
right,
this team is dangerous no matter what. So I think Saskatchewan. It's gonna be a good game once again.
Yeah, I agree. One thing about this game, one thing that concerns me with Toronto, I mean, Kelly with those turnovers, though, man. I mean, he had a lot of yards and stuff, and he got the ball out, but Saskatchewan's too good to turn the ball over with that. It's like I said with the games last week, Bill. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be rooting for Toronto, but if I'm going to be objective and make some picks, I think Saskatchewan has this one.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, it wasn't even good interceptions. It was all bad. It was just overthrown, short throw, and it was a deep throwing up in the air blindly. And it was this bad interception by Kelly, and he cannot afford this against this game. So if they want to go back to the Grey Cup, this is a good stepping stone right here, and don't throw those turnovers. And that's pretty much Toronto's case. If they don't throw turnovers, who knows? They might win.
Right.
Yeah. Now, this next game on Saturday on 7 o'clock on TSN in Canada and CBS Sports Network in the States, these two teams is talk about disparity at disparity at its finest. And I think this is going to be a good game right here. Calgary at BC at their alternate home stadium. I can't even say the word. I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to offend no BC fans. It starts with a K. But but the disparity of these two teams, like whoever wins, I think might be a good step to them trying to make the playoffs. The rest of the team will be a big hole to get out. These two teams are 0-2. The two got the potential to be Grey Cup teams. And Calgary want their revenge of last year's playoff game. They lost against BC, and they had a chance to beat them last year, but they didn't. And this is going to be a good game. BC need to find a way. I know everyone is hurt in the wide receiver, but there's a lot of good youth wide receivers. Nick Cynical, the 5th-round pick of receiver, he is doing his thing. He had 3 touchdowns the last 2 games. And I know it's garbage, but it's something. And their number 1 draft pick, he ain't doing anything. That Nate, I can't even say his name either. No offense to Nate. But it's going to be a good game. I take BC because BC needs to win. The only way Calgary need to win, the defense needs to shore up. And they need to shore up, and the offense needs to score touchdowns early instead of scoring touchdowns late. And BC, they got to find who's going to be their alpha dog if all these receivers are hurt. And they got to find a way to get James Butler the ball. Because if they can't find a way to get James Butler the ball and the defense stop James Butler, Calgary going to win this game easily.
Right.
But I think BC going to find a way to win this because Captain Canada always do good when the chips is down. So I'm going to take BC, and it's going to be a hell of a game right there.
Yeah, my concern with Calgary is, as you mentioned, they wake up way too late as far, if BC gets on a roll, that might be tough for them to dig out. But BC, as you mentioned too, there's a lot of injuries and stuff like that. Part of me wants to go with BC because I feel like bounce back game. They need it. Mm-hmm. But Calgary does too. So, You know what? I'm going to go with Calgary this week. And
oh man, yeah, I love it.
All right, so. But I could see it going either way. I could see this game being another overtime instant classic like the 2 from last week were. So,
Like, it's not, I don't want to say it's an elimination game or anything like that. The loser of this game is going to be, okay, it's panic time.
Right.
And I know it's like June, whoever it is, it just... There's a lot of expectation for these both teams to make it to the playoffs and the Grey Cup for both these teams. Especially me picking BC, taking to the Grey Cup, but it's like these teams too damn good to be Just the way they at right now. So,
Right.
and then again, schedule. BC got a brutal schedule. I ain't gonna lie to that.
They do.
But Calgary, they lost 2 games at home, and that's not ideal, and it's not ideal for any sport. So
No.
who's that? But who's? It's gonna be a good game. I can't wait.
Right.
And the last game, 7 o'clock on a Sunday night, on TSN and RDS up in Canada and the French Canadian area, and CBS Sports Network in the States is the undefeated. Oh, no, not undefeated. Oops, the Montreal Alouettes versus the 0-2 Ottawa Red Blacks. Now, I'm picking the Montreal no matter what. I ain't gonna pick Montreal, but those 7 o'clock Sunday games at Montreal scream trap game.
Interesting.
Ottawa Red Blacks were probably going to make this competitive. And, you know, the only thing, and my buddy Ken reached out to him. He said the best way to watch Montreal game at home is watch it on mute with the horns. And, yeah, but Montreal, if Montreal play like they play lately, they have no problem beating Ottawa badly. But Ottawa, what they need to do, they need to find a way to keep the mayor up. You got to find a way to block, you know, because Montreal defense is elite. And who knows? Maybe Drew Brown. We might see Drew Brown this week. Maybe not. But the key to Ottawa got to win. Your defense is solid. Your defense is going to keep you in the game. You got to find a way to use your research of your team. You got Geno Lewis. Geno Lewis is probably one of the, I say, a future Hall of Famer. You got Everhart. He catch anything near him. You got 2 good running backs, Red Bell and Daniel Abadado. You use these guys, and you play, like I say, like Toronto. You playing house money. No one expects you to win, but I think Montreal will win, and who knows? I think Ottawa might make it close.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you about the trap feeling, and plus Ottawa, like I said, is like, even though it wound up being a lopsided score against Toronto, they hung with the Argos. So, and wouldn't surprise me if they did that with Montreal. Made it look closer than a lot of people think it'll be. But I don't know. Montreal, I think, has too much. As long as they don't go in thinking that they have the game won before kickoff, I think Montreal will take it as well. So.
Yeah, and also, and here's a little fun thing is, I'm looking at it right now. Montreal don't do good on Sunday night games. Just to let you know. They just throw it out there. And that's including the Grey Cup. The last couple of years, they have Sunday night, you know, they had those Sunday night games on TSNs. I remember that Hamilton came in there and we destroyed them last year. That's the record breaker game by Bo Levi Mitchell. We destroyed them. I remember they had one game against Winnipeg. They lost like 28-7 or something like that. This Sunday night games in Montreal don't do so hot.
No.
So if people want to put some money on Ottawa, this would be the perfect game to do it. You know?
Right.
So I think, Montreal. Once again, Montreal is going to do it. I think Montreal going to be the team, and I think they're going to win this game, and then we going right into the bye and feeling all happy and stuff. So
there we go.
Can't wait for that.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll definitely be looking forward to that and talking about all of these games next week. But I think we'll be getting close to wrapping things up. Just want to remind you again, folks, next week we will have a big special episode celebrating in celebration of America's 250th birthday. The CFL fans in the USA will salute the CFL teams in the USA. We're going to have tributes to each team from that era. We had a nice interview with Ron Snyder going into detail about the Baltimore Stallions. Bill, I think you mentioned that you have a top 15 players of each of those teams lined up, so we definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I'm going to do a top 15 players of all those teams, and I'll do also the top player of each of these CFL teams and America teams and that. And just make a disclaimer, we're going to do a little shout out to Canada Day next week, and we ain't going to forget about y'all. And then make another disclaimer, we're not all for the U.S. in expansion. We just doing a homage to the teams back in the past and give them their flowers too. So that's we're gonna do a special of that, and doing the great birthday of America. We're gonna do a little tribute to the teams in America.
Right, and the thing, and like you said, it's not a slight to Canada, and we'll salute our Canadian friends for Canada Day. It's just the fact that it's a special birthday for the United States, and we're doing a show about Canadian sports teams. It's kind of like, I don't know, I just thought that would be a way to tie in the birthday into Canada. I mean, it's like Canada could probably care less about 4th of July and fireworks and stuff like that, but it was an important note in league history, and when we listened to the interview with Ron Snyder, a lot of it had to do with the CFL needing money, so they thought this was, this would financially help the league. So
and that was a good time. Well, as a kid, it was a good time because I was watching that and grabbing merch and stuff because I like secondary football leagues, and I always get like merch of that and cards, and it's pretty. I love the uniqueness of these uniforms. We're going to talk about their uniforms. We're going to talk about everything about it. We're going to knock it out. It might be a good hour and a half or 2 hours, and can't wait to talk about that. That could be good. It'll be a good talk.
Yeah, definitely. One thing before we go, I wanted to mention this, but we had a lot of other interesting things to talk about. Shout out to Sean Milligan, who the latest inductee to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. He was a running back for BC. Bill, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw a video from the Lions themselves where I think the coach brought him out to the players, and he said, this guy looks like he can still play. And sure enough, the dude took off his shirt. He looked like Ahmed Johnson. I mean, he was ripped. I mean,
yeah, man. Sean Milligan, I remember him. Like, I remember they had, like, those little hype videos back in the day, and I just see Sean Milligan just running over guys. There's a video of him running over the coach for the Winnipeg when he used to play for Toronto, Mike O'Shea. He ran him over, like, woof. And, like, and he was part of the Grey Cup team in 2000, and I think he's doing good, and like I say, hell, maybe BC might need him to play this week. Who knows?
He looks like he could play. I was going to say, I don't know how Sean is, but man, if he can't, if a CFL squad doesn't want him, I wouldn't mind seeing him play wearing red and white for the Defenders. I wouldn't even mind seeing him play in the NFL, but that might be, I don't know. That might be too much pie in the sky right there, but you never know.
I tell you what, that team with him in 2000, that team was loaded. I ain't gonna lie. People remember, and this is one of the reasons why I still have. This was my third CFL jersey, my G. Roy Simon. You remember that guy? He scored that touchdown. He did the touchdown. He got his signature touchdown pose. He was good. G. Roy Simon. He had him. I'm trying to think. Oh my God, who was the quarterback? Was it McManus? Oh my God. Oh man. Wait, hold up. Let me look at my stacks here real quick. But that team was stacked.
Right.
You know.
Did Flutie ever play for them, or was that just his brother? I know his brother was like a receiver for them, but I don't know.
Oh, wait. I know the quarterback. I didn't even look at it. Damon Allen was the quarterback in
Oh, okay.
2000.
Gotcha.
And Damon Allen's one of the top quarterbacks of all times. And that was Marcus Allen's brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was, I remember that team. They had Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, Robert Drummond, that was a solid team. And also that team, when Milligan was on, they played the '99 Hamilton Ticats the year before, and Hamilton beat them. That was a hell of a game right there. So we beat them in their own backyard, and that was remember that on ESPN Plus.
Oh man, you pulled the Louisville Kings. That's cool.
Yeah. And it was a good deal, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, we're gonna wrap things up. We want to thank you once again for talking Canadian football with us. Phil, once again, shout out to our sponsor, if you could please, real quick.
It's Jacob's Tavern. As J.Gough. That's in the Pittsburgh area. And if you want more detail about it, is like I say, is in Murray's Avenue, 4213 Murray's Avenue in Pittsburgh, PA. Is in the heart of the city. Like I say, if you mention our podcast, you mention CFL, you get 10% off of your meal. So we're going to try to do everything possible and make that a CFL haven place for Pittsburgh fans or even American fans. We're going to try to make that our Steeler bar. You know?
I was going to say, you probably would, I mean, it would be a slam dunk for the Steeler bar, I would think, but, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, and the thing is, his place is closed on Sunday, but I'm going to try to talk to him about have a private party for the CFL for a Grey Cup party. So,
interesting.
So that's in works. That if the Dave and Buster's ain't gonna let us have a draft party,
right. And I'm trying to talk to Kim about that because that weekend is close to my birthday. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'd have to work a few things out. We're taking time off from both of our jobs to go to Canada, but I want to maybe take the Monday off afterwards, and I don't know if she can do that with her job or either. We'll have to work on that, but let me ask you this: are there any hotels near there, or I've only been to Pittsburgh a couple times myself, and that.
So, have you ever heard the Waterfront?
Yes.
Yeah, in Homestead, it's right near Homestead. There's hotels there. There's hotels in some place called Squirrel Hill area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's hotels around that area around that time, and I live in Monroeville, so there's good hotels around here. You just pretty much like, hey, follow me to this place and stuff like that. Like I did that for the Dave and Buster's. There was a couple people who was from different towns. They like, all right, want to get a hotel near you.
Yeah. And
pretty much I say, hey, follow me to Dave and Buster or put it on your GPS and stuff like that. So,
right. Okay.
Stuff like that. And there's a project. Here's another announcement we have, and this is me and my wife's thing here. Now, nothing's etched in stone. We fumbled this idea. So there's if the schedule line in Toronto home game next year and a Hamilton home game next year at that same weekend, we made official. Me and Randy will go to Toronto first. Then we're gonna go to Hamilton the next day to go to the games. We're gonna spend.
That'd be a good time.
We're gonna spend a couple days in Toronto and Hamilton. And if good thing about CFL, the schedule is a little earlier than NFL's. So we're gonna see how the schedule goes, and if we liked our schedule, we're gonna tell the people on the Facebook page and the podcast, hey, we're gonna go this weekend people from Canada or people in America want to join us, we'll have a little gathering. We'll have a little tailgating. We'll have a little bar afterwards, drinks, and talk about CFL or life and all that good stuff. So we got that. Me and Brandy have this idea. Hell, you and me might have an idea to go to a game, and we might do a live podcast out there. So who knows?
That would be fun. One game I wanted to go to out there, I don't know if we'll be able to do it this year or even down the road. With Hamilton and Toronto, they have a game annually at Toronto during the Expo. And I watched the game last year, and they had the TSN crew outside, and you had like all these Ferris wheels and rides, and looked like a ridiculous amount of food stands there. I mean, it looked like a lot of fun. I probably wouldn't mind going to that game, but I don't know, vacation-wise, I could swing that. But, that...
Yeah, and also, and I got a lot of friends from the West, and don't forget, I don't forget about y'all. I got a lot of people from Winnipeg I got good friends with, and I promised them within the 3 years I'll be up there for a football game. So
nice.
So I might have a bunch of people with me to say, all right, let's go to a Winnipeg game. I got a buddy in BC. Now, BC might be extra expensive for me, but we're going to try to push that. We're trying to make that happen there, but Winnipeg's a possibility in a couple of years, and also Saskatchewan's a possibility. My buddy from Columbus, Ohio, he's a huge Rough Riders fan. He go lunch with Trevor Harris' family.
Oh, wow.
On the weekends. That's how big fan it, because Trevor Harris and A.J. Ouellette's from Ohio.
Right.
And they're like the best friends. So everyone check that out. It's gonna be amazing, and we're gonna find a way there. And all my people in Canada, don't worry. The Phil and Brandy show or the Phil and Rick show will be up there as soon before you know it.
All right. A lot of things to look forward to. All right, folks. Thanks again for listening. We will talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.